Chosen one, that wildfire racing through your veins, that heart-thumping roar in your chest. Hear it? That's not just adrenaline. That's heaven's battle horn blasting, calling you to your final test, the do-or-die moment where your destiny explodes into being or crumbles to dust. Chosen ones, this is your ultimate showdown, and God's gaze is burning right through you. Freeze that scroll this second, that inferno flaring in your soul, that pulse hammering like a war drum. That's no glitch. It's divine detonation, a celestial wake-up call. You didn't trip over this message by dumb luck. Heaven hunted you, locked onto your spirit across galaxies, and yanked you to this sacred arena for one earth-shattering reason. This is your final test. Picture a cosmic scroll unrolling in eternity's throne room. Your name seared in blazing gold, throbbing with purpose so fierce it could crack mountains. God's not some distant spectator. He's here, close enough to catch every stutter of your heart. This isn't just a moment, it's the moment. The razor's edge where your life catapults to glory or plunges into oblivion. Before this hour's ashes settle, you'll know why every wound, every 3 a.m. wrestle, every tear-soaked prayer was hammering you into a weapon for this divine crucible. You're not here to flop. You're here to rise, a supernova of faith. But the clock's a merciless hunter, and heaven's braced for your move. Will you crush this test, or let fear carve your story's tombstone? Let me sling a question that'll cut deep. Why are you still camped at the brink of your destiny, quaking when the gates to your purpose are blasted wide? You've roared for breakthroughs, bled for answers, pounded the heavens for a sign. But what if the sign isn't a supernova or a voice splitting the clouds? What if it's this heartbeat, this message, this bone-deep surge screaming, your time is now. You've dragged burdens no one could see, a soul-crushing weight hissing, you'll never be enough. A loneliness that shadows you in packed rooms. You've watched doors slam, dreams vaporize, chances slip like sand through your fists. Somewhere, you swallowed the poison that God's plan was for someone else, someone tougher, purer, more ready. But God's voice is a thunderclap now, shattering the lies. You weren't skipped, chosen one. You were forged. Every rejection was a course correction. Every barred gate was armor. Every tear was rocket fuel for your calling. This is your faith warpath, and it's led you to this all-or-nothing test. Picture Moses, knees buckling before the Red Sea, Pharaoh's death squad howling at his back. 40 years in the wasteland, branded a loser, a runaway, a stuttering fool who argued with God himself. But in that gut punch moment, waves rearing like titans, doom closing its jaws, God didn't demand a flawless hero. He demanded faith. "Stretch out your staff," he growled, and when Moses swung, the impossible tore open like paper. That's your test today. Not to be picture perfect, but to move in faith even when your hands quake and your heart's a jackhammer. Hebrews 11:1 roars, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Faith isn't chilling uncertainty. It's sprinting through fog, staking your life on God's word over your dread. Your battles weren't punishment, they were your forge. And now God's watching, not to nitpick, but to see if you'll bet on him and leap. Let me spin a tale that might mirror your own. Sarah, a single mom from Charlotte, North Carolina, was buried alive in life's grind. 2 jobs, bills stacking like a prison. Her bakery dream choking under reality's boot. She felt like a phantom, like God had erased her from his blueprint. But one night, scrolling through the dark, she hit a message like this. Her pulse surged, a voice booming, "This is yours." She didn't swipe away. She stopped dead, scratched. Out one goal, save $500 for a baking course. That flicker of faith sparked a blaze. A coworker tossed her a logo sketch. A church slid her a rusty oven. 6 months later, Sarah's cupcakes were the talk of farmers' markets. And last month, she signed her shop's lease. Sarah had no fancy degree, no deep pockets, just raw, relentless faith. She aced her test, and God spun her crumbs into a dynasty. Your test's the same. God doesn't need your LinkedIn. He needs your yes, loud and unshaken. This message rips. Open a truth that'll set your soul ablaze. Your darkest fears are the keys to your fiercest breakthroughs. The enemy's not gunning for your wallet or your to-do list. He's after your guts. Fear's the ghost enforcer guarding your spiritual awakening, snarling, "You'll crash. You're not chosen. This is just another letdown." But fear's a con artist, and we're burning its mask today. Visualize a radiant door, sculpted from pure starfire. Your name pulsing in flames only angels can read. No bolts, no bars, just the prison you've chained in your head. 2 Timothy 1:7 thunders, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." That panic clawing your insides, it's not God's, it's a fake, crafted to cage you. But you, chosen one, aren't some shrinking violet. You're a spiritual juggernaut, a warrior whose faith can pulverize peaks. This final test is about drop-kicking that ghost guard and charging through the door like a comet. What's beyond that gate? Not some cheap trinket or fleeting high. This door opens to your divine purpose, a life where your wounds ignite your strength, your scars script your epic, and your faith lights a beacon for the lost. Imagine waking each dawn, veins humming with the certainty you're on God's grid, your every step sending shockwaves through eternity. Picture relationships forged anew, dreams clawing back from the grave, a legacy that'll echo when the stars burn out. But storming that threshold means crushing this test. And it's not about Hollywood heroics or spotless faith. It's about gritty, intentional steps that bellow you trust God more than you fear the fall. Here are 3 moves to set your destiny on fire today. First, snatch a pen and etch one goal for this week. Something fears locked in a vault, like starting that project or firing off that application. Make it razor sharp, like, "I'll bang out my book's first chapter by Friday." Second, reach out to someone you've got to mend fences with or reconnect, a parent, a friend, a sibling. Shoot a text, dial their number, even if it's just, "You've been in my head." Third, take one hard step toward your calling. Grab that business domain, enroll in that course. These aren't errands, they're warheads, blasting the chasm between your now and God's forever. Scratch them down, act on them, and watch heaven's armies roll in. Let's forge a rebellion right now. Type, "I'm storming my final test," in the comments below. Your words aren't just pixels, they're a war cry, a supernova to heaven that you're all in. And when you comment, pray for the warrior above you, their victories braided with yours. Together, we're not just souls, we're a holy inferno torching this moment. Let's plunge deeper. Why's this test slamming you like a tidal wave? Because it's not just you, it's generations. Picture a chain, corroded and heavy, slinking back through your lineage. Addictions, poverty, fractured hearts. Every time you buckled, every midnight you wrestled ghosts not yours, you were swallowing that venom, chosen to shatter it. Isaiah 61:4 roars, "They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated." That's you, chosen one. You're not just breathing, you're resurrecting what broke before your cradle. Every cash crunch was strangling poverty's curse. Every betrayal was torching abandonment's grip. Every health war was crushing death's early claim. You didn't inherit pain, you inherited a crusade. This test is your shot to end it, to smash through that door and seize the freedom your ancestors wept for. Think David, a scrappy kid tapped as king. No red carpet to the throne, just Goliath's shadow, Saul's spears, cave-bound knights. Each was a test, sharpening him to wield his crown. Facing that giant, his heart probably thrashed, but his faith was a blade. He slung that stone, not fearless, but because he trusted God's vow over his terror. Your test's no different. Your giant might be doubt, debt, or a dream too big for gravity. God's not after a perfect shot, he's after your faith to swing. When you do, that giant's just dust. The real foe was the fear choking your soul. This is your soul's rebirth, chosen one. Your faith quest isn't about sidestepping fear. It's about slicing it in half, trusting God's power blazes through. Your cracks. Take James, a Seattle teacher, itching to mentor street kids. Fear chained him for years. What if it flops? What if I'm broke? He agonized. But one Sunday, a sermon hit like a lightning bolt. God growling, "Go now." James pinned up a flyer at school. Days later, 10 teens showed. A shop donated laptops, a pal co-led. Now James lifts 50 kids, training others to spark their own programs. No funding, no script, just faith and a spark. That's your test, not to map every step, but to move on the fire in your bones. Your 3 steps, goal, outreach, action, are your warheads. Launch them and watch God nuke your giants. This test isn't about proving you're chosen. You are. It's about proving your trust. Picture a battlefield, air choked with steel's clang and warriors' screams. You're no bystander. You're a soldier, cherry-picked by the King of Kings. Ephesians 6:12 snarls, "Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers of this dark world." Every fear, every doubt, every what if is a phantom arrow aimed at your faith. But you're armored. Shield of faith, Spirit's sword, the vow that no weapon against you wins. This test is your moment to raise that shield, swing that blade, and bellow that your destiny's worth the war. God's watching, not to grade, but to roar. You're unstoppable. I'm right here. The stakes? Cosmic. This test isn't just your breakthrough, it's the lifeline for souls tied to your guts. Picture a mom in your city, sobbing for her lost son. Your ministry could be his anchor. Imagine a kid on your block, hungry for hope. Your hustle could fuel their rise. Every step through this door quakes eternity. Esther faced your test. She could have stayed safe, silent in the palace, but she stepped up, declaring, "If I perish, I perish." Her faith saved a nation. Your test carries that weight. The enemy knows it, and he's throwing hell to freeze you. But he's done. Colossians 2:15 blasts, "He disarmed the powers, triumphing over them by the cross." Victory's locked. Your test is to grab it. Why is this a 5-alarm fire? Divine timing's a sniper's shot. Noah had 1 window for the ark. Joseph had seconds to crack Pharaoh's dream. You've got this. This test, this door, this now. Miss it, and you don't just stall. You risk someone else stealing your mantle. Saul, anointed king, choked on fear, lost his crown to David. God's plan rolls on. Will you wield it? Your 3 steps, goal, outreach, action, are your battle yell to God's call. They're not tasks, they're thunder proclaiming you. Ride his timing over your shakes. Picture standing before a throne, glory crackling like a storm. God asks, "What did you do with your test?" You don't want to mutter, "I froze." You want to bellow, "I trusted, I charged, I won." That's your legacy, not just for you, but for the bloodline trailing you. Your kids will soar free because you crushed the curse. Your town will pulse because you dreamed big. Your faith will ignite belief in hearts gone dark. This is your soul's supernova, chosen one. Not a fleeting rush, but a rebirth that rewrites your stars. You're not just passing a test. You're claiming the saga God wrote for you. Keep storming, chosen one. You're perched on your divine edge, the air electric with eternity's pulse. This isn't a moment. It's the crescendo of every whispered prayer, every hope you clutched when the world screamed quit. Picture a cosmic arena. Hebrews 12:1's witnesses packing the stands, their war cries shaking the heavens. They've felled giants, run their race, and now they're chanting you. This is your final test, and God's watching, not with a tally, but a father's heart, burning for you to seize the win he's already carved. The enemy wants you to buy that this test is a mountain, you're an ant. Your fumbles disqualified you. But here's a truth to torch that lie. Your past doesn't cage your destiny. Your faith springs it. Peter, a brash fisherman, crashed hard, denying Jesus 3 times, voice cracking as he swore off his Lord. If anyone flunked, it was him. But John 21:17, Jesus didn't scrap him. He locked eyes with Peter's tear-soaked face and said, "Feed my sheep." That was no end, it was his launch. Jesus saw the apostle in the wreck, the rock in the ruin. That's God's lens on you now. Your flops, doubts, scars, they're not your brand. They're the raw ore, God smelting into your myth. This test isn't about scrubbing your past. It's about owning every bruise as proof you've outlasted. Wars most couldn't fight. You're not out. You're ordained, handpicked for an eternal echo. What makes this test a game changer? It's not your moves. It's your metamorphosis. Picture a chrysalis, trembling as the butterfly inside claws. Free. Your struggles were that shell, crushing you to birth wings you couldn't dream. This test is your breakout, your moment to soar into your calling's wild blue. Romans 8:18 thunders, "The sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed." That glory's not a distant star, it's past this test, screaming your name. But it takes a flip, not in your world, but your sight. Ditch the lens of pain, see through God's promise. You're not your story's prey, you're the hero. God's been chiseling. Take Maria, a Dallas nurse crushed by burnout's fist. Raised where dreams were mocked, her songwriting was a secret she buried. She'd hum at night, scrawl lyrics on napkins, sure they'd rot. One night, dead after a 12-hour shift, a spark hit, God growling, "Sing." Fear swore she'd be a joke, but she stepped, recorded a song, sent it to a friend. That friend pinged a worship leader. Weeks later, Maria's song rang in a 500-strong church. Now she leads worship, her music healing souls citywide. Maria's test wasn't stardom, it was trusting God to amplify her whisper. Yours is too. Your gifts, whether writing, teaching, or serving, are bombs built to blast. This test isn't a pop quiz, it's a cosmic firefight, stakes higher than the heavens. Ephesians 6:13 commands, "Put on the full armor of God to stand your ground when evil comes." That's now, chosen one. The enemy's not swinging because you're weak. He's panicked because you're a juggernaut. Every doubt, every not you, is a sniper shot to block your God-given ground. But you're no soft target. Your 3 steps, goal, outreach, action, are your arsenal, forged in faith's blaze. They're not just acts. They're your claim on the turf God staked for you. Why's this so raw? God didn't hand you a cookie-cutter call. He carved it for your story, your spark, your scars. Picture a tapestry, every thread, joys, griefs, wins, losses, knit tight. The world sees mess. God sees a masterpiece. This test lets you see the art, know every knot led here. Psalm 139:16 sings, "All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one came to be." Before your first gasp, God scripted this test, this door, this destiny, your doubts, delays. He saw them. Now he's watching to see if you'll trust his vision over your shakes. The enemy's dirtiest play isn't failure, it's distraction. He doesn't need to kill you, just derail you, keep you chasing noise so you miss eternity. Martha, in Luke 10:40, was frantic with tasks while Mary drank Jesus' words. Martha wasn't wrong, but she missed the core. What's derailing you? Comparison static, measuring your life against someone's filter. Duty's grind, muffling. God's call? This test is your summons to sit at his feet, silence the chaos, and hear the mission carved in your soul. Your 3 steps are your roots, anchoring you to God's plan when life tries to rip you loose. Imagine a river, feral and fierce, rushing you toward a veiled horizon. That's your life, carried by grace, guided by a mightier fist. But this test is the rapids, where the current demands you swim or sink. Joshua 1:9 booms, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you." Courage isn't fear's death, it's the gut to charge through it. Your goal, outreach, action, they're your strokes, proof you're picking faith over panic. Thomas, a Memphis mechanic, burned to mentor hood kids. Fatherless, he knew their ache but froze, thinking, "I'm no preacher." A dream of lost boys shook him. He wrote his vision, weekly meetups, called a buddy. Made his garage a hub for tools and truth, teaching 5 teens grit and gears. Now Thomas guides 20, backed by a charity. No degree, no clout, just faith and a move. Your test's the same. God's not after polish, he's after your yes, shown in those steps. This is your soul's uprising, chosen one. A moment heaven and earth collide to unveil your core. Picture a tree, roots deep, fruit heavy. That's your life past this test, thriving, shading the broken, feeding the starved. Your steps are seeds, and God's got the harvest. Growth demands trust, a dive into the wild unknown. This test is your dive, proving your faith outguns your fear. Your purpose buries your pain. This test is identity. The enemy's renamed you, failure, fearful, flawed. But God's got your true name, etched in the Lamb's book before time. Revelation 2:17 vows, "To the one who overcomes, I will give a white stone with a new name." That's not broken, it's beloved, victor, chosen. This test claims that name, flips off the lies, steps you into truth. Picture a crown blazing with heaven's fire. Purpose, impact, eternity. Your steps are your crowning, proof you're built to reign. The world's starving for you. Souls, some known, some strangers, hinge on your fire. Your goal could spark a dreamer. Your outreach could heal a clan. Your action could birth a tidal wave. This test isn't just your win, it's the winds you'll carry. Ruth, a widowed outcast, chose Naomi. Her faith wove her into Jesus' line. Your test holds that power to thread your story into God's epic. Leave a mark that outlives the sun. You're at a divine flashpoint, the veil between heaven's oath and your reality, tissue thin. Picture a desert, sand scorching, and there, an oasis, waters alive with promise. That's your aim, not a trick, but a fount God's led you to. This test isn't flexing strength, it's bearing trust, betting the caller will carry you. The world calls your struggles flops. Heaven calls them rungs, set to land you here. God's watching, not for perfection, but for your heart's dare to trust the unseen. This is your faith's fire, and your next move could burn eternal. This test is eternal, not quick fixes, but a call that outlasts your days, weaving you into God's redemption saga. Picture a lighthouse, its beams slashing storms, guiding ships. That's you. Now, doubts and all. Your light, forged in trials blaze, saves. Matthew 5:16 urges, "Let your light shine, that they may glorify your Father." Your test is to blaze, not hiding scars, but offering them as God's art. Your steps, goal, outreach, action are that light's spark, a fire no dark can kill, resistance howling. That's your sign. The closer to this door, the louder doubt screams. You're on target. The enemy doesn't waste shots on nobodies. He's gunning because your destiny's his nightmare. Picture a warrior, armor flashing, arrows falling. Ephesians 6:16 commands, "Take up the shield of faith to extinguish the evil one's arrows." Your faith in those steps is that shield, swatting lies. The enemy says you're shattered. God says your cracks are his canvas. Rachel, a Denver designer, ached to craft faith art. She buried it, thinking it too small, sketched in secret, hid her work. After a brutal season, job, axed, confidence gutted, a nudge hit. Show it. She posted a Psalm 23 design. A friend shared it, a church, a stranger. Months later, Rachel's art lit homes and altars, her inbox flooded with hope. No stage, no plan, just faith and a step. Your steps are that bold, proof your small gifts shift worlds. Type, "I'm torching my light" in the comments. Your words are a flare, screaming to heaven you're unyielding. Pray for the warrior above you, their fire's yours, and together we're a blaze no enemy can quench. This test is authority. You've got a birthright, a mantle the enemies tried to bury under shame. Picture a royal seal, your name glowing, stamped with divine might. Genesis 1:26 decrees, "Let them rule." You're built to rule, not people, but the forces stealing your peace, purpose, joy. Your steps are your scepter, proof you're claiming that might. Every goal, outreach, action is an edict, declaring you're free, crowned in God's kingdom. The world needs your voice. There's a void only you fill, a wound only your story heals. Picture a barren garden, begging for your seed. Your obedience plants it. Your steps grow it beyond your days. Hannah, mocked and barren, trusted through scorn, worshipped through pain. Her faith birthed Samuel, a nation shifter. Your test holds that power to spark history because you're faithful. The world lies. Your worth's in wins, status, polish. God says it's in His love, unbreakable. Romans 8:38 vows, no powers can separate us from God's love. This test is your stand, owning your place as chosen. Your steps don't earn love. They unleash it, flooding a desperate world. Your life's a symphony, every trial, a note in God's score, hitting a crescendo that shakes eternity. This test is that peak, your story seizing the stage. You're not just passing, you're performing a masterpiece for the composer. Your steps are the melody carrying your destiny's anthem. Don't let doubt mute it. Play and watch God weave miracles. Daniel, a 67-year-old Phoenix retiree, thought his spark was gone. Creaky knees, thin wallet. But Psalm 92:14, they will bear fruit in old age, ignited him. He wrote a goal, volunteer at a shelter weekly, called them. Soon he taught job skills, lifting men from despair. His class got 15 jobs and he's mentoring leaders. No cash, no youth, just faith and a step. Your steps are your fruit, proof your time's now. This is your Phoenix moment, chosen one, wings ablaze, bursting from ashes. That's you, now, trusting, moving, believing. Your steps spark that fire, setting your destiny alight. The enemy wants you ashbound. God says your saga's just begun. Rise, soar, show His powers perfect in your weakness. Type, I'm blazing in glory, in the comments. Your words are a war horn, signaling heaven you're claiming your throne. Pray for the soul above you. Their blaze fuels yours, and together, we're a wildfire no dark can tame. This test is legacy, lives changed, hearts mended, futures born. Picture a ripple racing across a lake, touching shores beyond your sight. That's your obedience, stretching to generations. Abraham's faith blessed nations, Genesis 22:18. Your test plants seeds that bloom past your days. Your steps invest in a future God's seen. You carry ancestors' prayers, unreaped harvests, and dreams of kids who'll walk in your freedom. This test honors their faith, breaks their chains, builds a legacy for God. Psalm 78:4 says, we will tell the next generation the Lord's deeds. Your steps are that tale, proof God's promises hold. Don't let fear steal it. Pass, and your life's a wonder for ages. This test awakens your divine core. Picture a seed, cracking earth's grip, blooming wild. John 12:24 says, if a kernel dies, it produces many seeds. Your struggles were that death, not to end, but to multiply you. Your steps are the shoots, reaching God's light. Your breaking was your dawn, a harvest for souls unborn. You wield a mantle, reshaping despair into hope. Your steps are a flood, carving new paths. The enemy calls your work small. God's math says a mustard seed moves mountains, Matthew 17:20. Your steps shift doubt, debt, division. Speak to those peaks and watch God's promises crush them. Elena, a Portland barista, yearned to help her community, but felt too small. Seeing homeless families, her heart broke, but fear chained her. A big tip sparked God's nudge. Go. She wrote a goal, weekly meals for the needy, called a coworker, used the tip for food. Businesses gave, volunteers swarmed. A year later, Elena fed 100 weekly. No nonprofit, no cash, just faith and a step. Your steps are that seed. God makes your little mighty. Type, I'm igniting my faith's blaze in the comments. Your vow's a torch, signaling heaven you're growing. Pray for the soul above you. Their harvest's yours, and together, we're a revolution. This test is your voice, not fear's squeak, but the roar God gave to summon life. Picture a trumpet gleaming, waiting to shake the skies. Romans 4:17 praises God, who calls things that are not as though they were. You've got that power to sound your call. Your steps are the first blasts, declaring you're done hiding. Blow that horn, let your faith quake a hope-starved world. This is divine acceleration. Your stuck seasons weren't waste. They synced your heart with God's clock. Picture a slingshot, taut, ready to fire. That's you, poised for flight. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "Those who hope in the Lord will soar like eagles." Your steps release that shot, hurling you where faith, not fear, rules. Trust God's timing. It's now. End of script enhancement.